The world ocean can confidently be called a territory of mysteries, as its depths are explored only by 20%. In this video, you will get acquainted with the most astonishing deep-sea discoveries, the existence of which is hard to believe. Enjoy your watching. No one knows for sure if Atlantis ever existed, but many researchers continue to try to find its ruins. In fact, many suspicious stone formations that could once have been structures of the mysterious island have been found on the ocean floor. One such formation is located near the Bahamas, close to the island of Bimini, and is called the Bimin Road. This astonishing object was discovered in September 1968 at a depth of about 6 meters. The Bimin Road consists of 700 meters of limestone blocks laid out in a neat path. The stones are huge, flat, and cut at right angles, creating the impression that the Bimin Road was man-made. Experts say the stones are about 11,000 years old. According to Plato's dialogues, Atlantis existed around the same time. This coincidence was taken by many historians as evidence that the Bimin Road is indeed the ruins of the mythical island. However, scientists are skeptical of this hypothesis and believe the object was created by nature. In 2022, as part of the Voyage to the Ridge expedition, scientists from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, were exploring the site of tectonic plate divergence at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. At a depth of 25–40 meters, they noticed strange holes lined up in a row. It looked as though the composition was created by a human, but of course, this is impossible at such depths. Then who is the creator of this row of holes? Unfortunately, scientists cannot answer this question. Attempts to investigate the holes using remote instruments led nowhere. So NOAA staff invited users to share their opinions on who created these holes and for what purpose. Among the suggestions were theories involving aliens, a new species of crabs, and the holes being formed as a result of gas escaping from the ocean floor. Perhaps we will soon find out who the creator of this mysterious composition is. The Mary Celeste is one of the most famous ghost ships. The history of this vessel was always associated with misfortunes. The ship was built in 1861 and initially named Amazon. It had 9 co-owners, one of whom was Captain Robert McClellan. During its first voyage, McClellan suddenly fell seriously ill and died a few days after returning. The next captain of the ship was John Nutting Parker. During his voyages over 2 years, the Amazon was involved in several shipwrecks. Since then, this ship was considered unlucky. The vessel constantly changed owners and was renamed Mary Celeste. In October 1872, the ship was purchased by a consortium of 9 people, one of the co-owners being Captain Benjamin Briggs. In November 1872, Mary Celeste set sail to deliver commercial cargo from Staten Island, USA to Genoa, Italy. Besides Briggs, there were 7 crew members, his wife, and their 2-year-old daughter on board. 4 weeks later, on December 5th, the ship was found 600 kilometers from Gibraltar, but nobody was on board. The last entry in the ship's log was made on November 24th. All personal belongings and the cargo remained on the ship, while the lifeboat was launched. Presumably, Briggs, his family, and the crew members tried to escape on it, but what forced them to do so, and what happened to them afterward, remains unknown. We are accustomed to everything in our world having a beginning and an end, so only characters in science fiction books or movies can become immortal. I am here to surprise you, as there are real immortal animals on Earth, and they are the jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii. This species of jellyfish is small in size, about 4.5 millimeter, but this doesn't prevent them from being the most unique creatures on our planet. The life cycle of a typical jellyfish goes like this. An adult individual produces larvae called planulae. They attach themselves to the seabed, forming polyps, from which fully formed jellyfish emerge. Mature individuals, after laying larvae, die. But this rule does not apply to Turritopsis dohrnii. Instead of dying, adult individuals fall to the bottom and revert back into polyps, thus producing their own clones. This immortality process is called cell transdifferentiation. Amazingly, experiments have shown that this species of jellyfish can enter such a state under any adverse factors, including starvation, lower water temperatures, or injury to the bell. Agree, this is simply fantastic. The Bermuda Triangle is considered one of the most dangerous areas in the Atlantic Ocean. Moreover, many mystical stories about the disappearance of sea and air vessels are associated with this place. The Bermuda Triangle is located in the Sargasso Sea. It got its name because its territory forms a triangle with vertices located in Miami, Bermuda Islands, and San Juan. The most famous anomalous incident that occurred in the Bermuda Triangle is the simultaneous disappearance of 5 Avenger bombers in December 1945. This incident undoubtedly shocked the public, and since then, this area has been considered anomalous. Proponents of pseudoscientific theories claim that at least 100 sea and air vessels have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. They believe that aliens guarding this place and hiding the ruins of the conquered Atlantis are to blame. Scientists, however, explain the anomaly with geological and weather features. There are many shallow areas and reefs in this zone, and the weather is constantly changing. Strong storms and typhoons regularly rage in this area. All these factors influence the frequency of shipwrecks and aviation disasters. Oceanologists often make discoveries during their underwater expeditions. This time, they accidentally found a strange object, a glowing purple sphere. They had never seen anything like it before, so they decided to take it with them for further study. The sphere had a diameter of 5 centimeters. Scientists speculated that it might be a new type of tunicate, Cnidarian or sea cucumber. At the same time, they believed the purple sphere could be an entirely unexplored form of life. Identifying the find precisely will take considerable time. The expedition during which the sphere was found aimed to inspect and map the Channel Islands National Park. The Channel Islands are located in the Pacific Ocean near the coast of Southern California and consist of 8 islands, 5 of which are part of the national park. This area remains understudied to this day, but oceanologists are making every effort to discover new species of ocean inhabitants. Narwhals are often called sea unicorns. Of course, these animals earned this nickname thanks to their unique feature, a very long tusk. The tusk, which usually grows only in males, can sometimes develop in females as well, although this is rare. Tusks can reach 3 meters in length and weigh up to 10 kilograms, while the average body length of narwhals is about 4 meters. The narwhal's tusk appears thin and very fragile, hardly a tool for fending off predators. Moreover, if it breaks, it never grows back. So what is its purpose for this marine animal? In fact, the narwhal's tusk is a tooth. It contains nerve endings, making it sensitive to pain and changes in temperature and the chemical composition of the water. The tusk is an important survival tool for these amazing animals. They use it to pierce through ice on their way, dig the seabed in search of food, and spear their prey. Furthermore, the tusk serves as a distinguishing feature of sexual dimorphism, although sometimes this tusk also protrudes in females. Males use it to attract females and sometimes engage in fights with each other, much like deer do. There are many places in the ocean where unexplained anomalies occur. The most famous among them is the Bermuda Triangle. But there is an equally mystical region located near the coast of Tokyo, known as the Devil's Sea or the Dragon's Triangle. Many sailors avoid this area, as it is believed that ships disappear in these Pacific waters, just as they do in the Bermuda Triangle. Some people say that ghost ships often drift there, and ufologists even assert that UFOs regularly fly over this zone. The statistics of ship disappearances in the Devil's Sea are somewhat alarming. In 1981, 6 ships disappeared in its waters without a trace. According to experts, hundreds of such incidents are known over time. With such statistics, the Devil's Sea is much more dangerous than the Bermuda Triangle. But why do ships disappear in this area? Scientists attribute this anomaly to frequent tropical cyclones, during which wind speeds reach 25–30 meters per second. According to the Japan Meteorological Agency, at least 50 typhoons formed in this region last year. Unfortunately, not all ships can withstand such weather conditions, so shipwrecks in the Devil's Sea occur very often. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon for sea vessels to disappear along with their entire crew during voyages. Such a tragedy occurred with the fishing yacht Kaz 2. On April 15th, the 56-year-old yacht owner named Derek Batten, along with 2 of his friends, set out for a fishing trip off the coast of Australia. All 3 men were experienced fishermen, so nothing was supposed to go wrong. However, none of them ever returned home. On April 18th, the yacht was spotted drifting in the area of the Great Barrier Reef by a helicopter. 2 days later, rescuers boarded the vessel, but found no fishermen on board. Food was on the table in the cabin, and a laptop was turned on. The yacht's engine was also running. There were no signs of an accident. Everything looked as if the 3 fishermen had simply vanished. After the drifting vessel was discovered, an investigation began. Unfortunately, there is no exact information about what happened to the fishermen. The investigation suggests that one of Batten's friends decided to dive into the water, but got entangled in the fishing nets. His brother went to help him. At that moment, the yacht began to drift away. Batten noticed this, started the engine, and tried to bring the vessel closer to his friends, but strong winds made it difficult. He then decided to lower the sails and was thrown overboard by a sail strike. This version sounds plausible, but still, no one knows exactly what happened to the fishermen that day and where they disappeared. In 2003, a comprehensive program to monitor the life activities of white sharks was conducted in Australia. Scientists installed special sensors on their fins for this purpose. This allowed them to not only monitor the population and behavior of these predatory fish, but also to gather data about the ecosystem. One of the white sharks in this program was a large female, whose body length reached 3 meters. She was named Alpha. 4 months after the sensor was installed, it was found on the coast. Scientists immediately noticed that the sensor had been damaged by acid, and when they managed to retrieve the data from the device, they were utterly shocked. The sensor showed that on one day, Alpha Shark suddenly descended to a depth of 580 meters. Then, the surrounding temperature rose to 25.5 degrees Celsius. The device remained in this environment for 8 days before being found on the shore. All these data indicated that the shark had been eaten, but who could be the killer of a 3-meter predator? Scientists still have not received an exact answer to this question and have only proposed several hypotheses. According to the first, Alpha might have fallen victim to orcas, but they usually are only interested in the liver of sharks, and the sensor was attached to the fin. The second hypothesis suggests that Alpha could have been eaten by a giant squid, but these animals cannot swallow their prey whole, and the sensor could not have ended up inside its stomach. According to the third assumption, the shark was indeed attacked by another larger predatory animal, but what kind remains unknown. On August 6, 1848, Her Majesty's ship, Daedalus, under the command of Captain Peter McQuay, was returning from the East Indies to its homeland. In the South Atlantic, between the Cape of Good Hope and the island of St. Helena, those on board the ship witnessed a fantastic phenomenon. A few meters from the vessel, a gigantic sea creature emerged, no less than 20 meters in length. It followed parallel to the ship for about 20 minutes, but showed no aggression and did not attempt to attack the people. One of the officers on the ship at the time drew the creature he was fortunate enough to see. He depicted the monster with a long, thick neck, a huge mouth, and curved teeth. According to the accounts made by eyewitnesses of this encounter, the creature had neither fins nor limbs. This fact led to the speculation that those on the ship had observed a sea serpent. Interestingly, this was not the only encounter with such a sea monster in the 19th century. The sea serpent was also sighted in 1817 and 1878. In 2003, ExxonMobil was laying oil pipelines in the Gulf of Mexico. During the survey of the area using special underwater vehicles, they discovered a sunken wooden ship. Scientists were intrigued by this find, but studying the wreckage was not easy because the ship was at a depth of over 1,000 meters. Therefore, a deep-sea research submersible was sent to the sunken vessel. And this is where the most interesting part began. As soon as the submersible approached the wreckage, the scientists encountered various problems. At that moment, hydraulic systems, monitors, and all electronics began to fail. 3 attempts were made to study the wreckage using the deep-sea vehicle, but none were successful. The researchers then dubbed this ship cursed. The only thing that could be determined about this vessel was that it was built in the early 19th century. In August 2023, Canadian scientists embarked on an expedition named Seascape Alaska 5, aiming to study the underwater environment near the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. A special robot equipped with a camera and grabber helped them conduct research in the deep-sea regions of the Pacific Ocean. At one point, at a depth of more than 3 kilometers, the scientists noticed a strange, shiny object. When the robot approached, they could see that it was something previously unknown to science. The golden-colored object was attached to a rock. It was egg-shaped with a hole in the center. The expedition members were intrigued by their find and decided to lift it from the bottom. A robot equipped with a vacuum grabber, resembling a tube, assisted them in this task. Upon first examining the golden egg, the scientists noticed that its hole appeared as if something had emerged from it. However, it's also possible that the hole served not as an exit, but as an entrance for an unknown creature. In their opinion, this find could be the egg of an unexplored deep-sea inhabitant or a new type of ocean sponge. Unfortunately, oceanologists have not been able to find similar golden eggs since then, so it is not possible to identify this find accurately. Milky seas refer to glowing areas of seawater. This unusual phenomenon was first noticed in 1854 near the island of Java. For a long time, the phenomenon remained poorly understood. Some scientists believed that the water began to glow due to temperature changes, while others suggested that microscopic organisms capable of bioluminescence were responsible. To this day, it is challenging to study this phenomenon fully because it is incredibly rare. Predicting when and where a Milky Sea will appear next is impossible. The last observation of the phenomenon occurred in 2019. Tourists resting on a sailing vessel near the coast of Java witnessed it. These people scooped up some seawater and saw many glowing spots in it, proving that Milky Seas are formed by clusters of bacteria. In 1988, also near Java, scientists managed to collect some glowing water. Its analysis showed the presence of the bacteria Vibrio harveyi, which are capable of bioluminescence. Likely, they were also present in the seawater in 2019. Currently, due to the unpredictability of this phenomenon, scientists can only study it through satellite images. They speculate that under certain conditions, a rapid growth in the population of glowing bacteria occurs, leading to the formation of this fantastically beautiful phenomenon. Bermuda is considered a ghost island. It was first discovered by Portuguese sailors in the 16th century. On a Portuguese map from 1535, stored in the State Archive of Florence, Bermuda was located in the Gulf of Mexico, 200 kilometers off the northwest coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, and 150 kilometers from the Scorpion Atoll. The island continued to appear on all known maps until the 20th century. However, in 1997, a Spanish research vessel could not find any island at the coordinates where Bermuda should have been. Scientists from the National University of Mexico became interested in the situation and decided to investigate where the landmass, covering about 80 square kilometers, could have disappeared. Several expeditions were organized for this purpose, which concluded that Bermuda Island had sunk. But why? It is assumed that the island fell victim to political games. It was located in the disputed territory of the Ojos de Dona oil field and was likely blown up. This would explain its disappearance. The Swedish company Ocean X, specializing in searching for sunken treasures, discovered a strange object at a depth of 87 meters in the Baltic Sea in 2011 using sonar. It was about 18 meters in diameter and bore a striking resemblance to the Millennium Falcon spacecraft from Star Wars. Naturally, this news set the internet ablaze. There were numerous speculations about what the object could be, ranging from an alien flying saucer to the ruins of Atlantis. The Ocean X team was convinced they had made a sensational discovery and that the object was definitely man-made. Scientists were skeptical about the images and decided to examine the Baltic Anomaly themselves. They managed to take samples from this formation, and after analyzing them, it became clear that the object consisted of basalt. This proved its natural origin. According to geologists from Stockholm University, a glacier was present in this location millions of years ago. Over time, it melted, and the rock debris it carried settled on the sea floor, forming the Baltic Anomaly. Another mysterious sound from the ocean depths, whose nature is still unknown, was captured by the hydrophone of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, in 1997. The noise was low frequency and lasted about a minute. Initially, scientists speculated it might have been made by animals, but it was unclear which ones. Interestingly, the sound originated 2,000 kilometers away from the region of the Pacific Ocean, where, according to stories by American writer H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu lived. This coincidence sparked widespread discussion among the public. Some people decided that the sound was made by a deep-sea monster and dubbed it the Bloop. Later, various artists began to create depictions of this creature on the internet. In most cases, Bloop was portrayed with a resemblance to Cthulhu. In 2012, NOAA scientists published their explanation for the nature of this sound. According to them, the source of the sound was a cracking iceberg, which at the time was located between the Bransfield Strait. In 1808, the inhabitants of the Scottish island of Stron were puzzled by a gruesome discovery. The carcass of an unknown creature, washed ashore after a severe storm, was impressive in size. According to eyewitnesses, the body length was 17 meters. Since there was no tail, the animal was even larger. The creature vaguely resembled a plesiosaur in appearance. Initially, the monster was identified as a sea serpent, a character in the mythology of many peoples. Later, the find was studied by the anatomist scientist Everard Home, who suggested that it was the remains of a giant shark. Indeed, the decomposing body of these predatory fish can resemble a plesiosaur. According to descriptions, the Stron Beast had a cartilaginous skeleton, 3 pairs of limb-like appendages, and scales that glowed in the dark. Modern geneticists believe that some features in the description of the animal's remains are exaggerated, and that the carcass probably belonged to an unknown species of sharks or very large representatives of ribbonfish. The Swedish company Ocean X, specializing in searching for sunken treasures, discovered a strange object at a depth of 87 meters in the Baltic Sea. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, periodically captures strange sounds from the depths of the ocean on its hydrophones. One such sound, named Julia, was recorded only once on March 1, 1999, in the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean, between the Bransfield Strait and Cape Adare. If one listens closely to this sound, it resembles a sort of underwater female scream, which is why it was given a female name. Scientists believe Julia is the sound of a giant iceberg grounding off the coast of Antarctica. However, proponents of pseudo-scientific theories claim that images taken by NASA's space shuttle Apollo 33A5 at the moment Julia was heard depict a giant shadow underwater. Its size is about 200 meters, leading to speculation that the sound was made by a terrifying monster living in the ocean. If this were true, then why has this sound never been repeated? And by the way, there was never such a NASA mission. On May 27, 1968, relatives and friends of the crew of the nuclear submarine Scorpion gathered at the Norfolk Pier to welcome the submarine back. But the Scorpion did not return. The submarine disappeared without a trace, along with its entire crew of 91 people. 3 months before this, on February 15th, the submarine under the command of Lieutenant Commander Francis Slattery left Norfolk Port for the Mediterranean Sea to participate in military exercises. The last message from the Scorpion was received on May 21, 1968, containing the coordinates of the vessel's location. After that, communication with the submarine was lost. When the Scorpion did not return to port on the scheduled day, a search operation was launched involving 55 ships and 35 aircraft. However, no traces were found. A submarine of the same size as the Scorpion was found near the coast of Virginia, but it was later established that it had been there since World War II. These failures did not stop the military search operation, and on November 10, 1968, the wreckage of the Scorpion was finally discovered 650 kilometers off the Azores Islands at a depth of over 3,000 meters. What happened to the submarine and why it sank remains unknown. It is assumed that the tragedy may have been caused by a malfunction in the control systems. The search for the missing nuclear submarine Scorpion became the most extensive in human history, involving over 6,000 people and 400 ships and aircraft. The Mariana Trench is the deepest point on our planet, with a depth of almost 11,000 meters. The temperature at the bottom varies from 1 to 4 degrees Celsius, and the pressure exceeds normal atmospheric pressure at sea level by 1071 times. If you think life is impossible under such conditions, you are mistaken. Scientists have proven that xenophyophores and microorganisms live at the bottom of the trench, having adapted to such extreme conditions. Recently, oceanographers discovered a very strange finding finding at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the remains of an unidentified animal. It was supposed to be at least as large as a whale. Scientists have yet to study this find. Who knows, perhaps a long time ago, not only primitive animals but also mammals lived in this deepest trench. That's all from me. If you liked this video, don't forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Your activity is the best reward for me. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Bye.